Bro, animation status na bro. Jitu bro.
Animation, yeah, it's done.
Done na.
Like, yeah, two PDF, like for the PND IDs are removed by.
Can it be completed today along with everything?
Yeah, maybe. I think Faisal was on the call, right?
Just confirm this page.
Yeah, sure. No, he has joined the meeting, bro.
From cup area, is it moving top, bro? I mean, only the cup area is moving away from, I mean, coming down from the sheet. Hello?
Which one? Yeah, bro.
No, for cup area na.
Yeah, cup area is like it's raising from the drawing. Just the cup area.
Yeah. Is it done?
Yeah, it's done, sir.
John Moinui, good morning.
Good morning, Richard.
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, good.
Good morning, Richard.
Hey, good morning, Tom. How are you?
I'm fine.
Just, well,
Good morning, Richard.
good morning, Phil. How are you?
All right. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see what else we have today. Oh, are you going to change your email address to equans.com?
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming, right? Because I saw some Lori has changed her.
Yeah, Lori got hers changed, and then I think
Yeah.
ours is supposed to happen this weekend. So
Yeah, I realized.
crazy stuff now.
You better stay with Equans a while this time, all right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, maybe I'll go over to DDG. I'll work for DDG.
There you go. Yeah.
So, Phil, the first thing I wanted to talk about is, I have a list of stuff, but the first thing I want to talk about is, we're fabbing down in the shop, and I'm getting a note from my guy saying that there's, and I think it's an email that Sam and Bill exchanged. There was quite a few pieces that had to get modified, and so so the point of this statement is this: things happen. I understand things change, but somehow we need to create the mechanism internally, with us, that when you guys know we're starting to fabricate, that any changes get elevated, really quickly, because and again, I'm spitballing here, Phil, to come up with the right way to say
Yeah,
it.
it's part of the reason is that's it's probably on we didn't know when the drawings were sent out to fabrication. We didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then I asked my guys what happened to the changes. They said that there's an email from you or somebody asked us to add in the to plan for the flow meter or something like that.
Yeah. Sure.
And that came after, and then that came after the October 25th date, so that they revise and add in the treadless or waterless, something like that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
so again, this is adding the threadlets to me is nothing. You know what I mean? Like that. If that was the essence of the if that, you know, so like the 6-inch wasn't there.
yeah, let me confirm with them right now. Hannah, let me have the guys doing it explain. Okay, phía bên mình Tây Ninh, quý vị thay đổi cái gì trên bản vẽ hôm qua cái vụ cái cấp á, rồi bây giờ có xác định được lý do là cái gì, mình thay đổi cái gì chưa, bằng những cái thư mà họ nói, họ kêu mình giải thích cái mấy cái rack 300 cho tới 304 05 gì đó.
Dạ em có reply lại cái thư đó anh.
Rồi bây giờ mở cái thư lên giải thích từng điểm một cho ông biết. Quý vị có thay đổi, quý vị có tạo rep mới không? Có
Dạ,
khoanh
trong
lại
anh
không?
Phương thì em thấy có lên rep hết anh.
Hả? Rồi mở
Dạ.
mấy cái bản spool ra cho ông coi. Ông bây giờ ông muốn biết tại sao mình thay đổi và thay đổi cái gì, có tạo rep cái gì không? Mở lên.
Dạ.
Rồi tất nhiên là anh muốn theo bên trái là cái bản của cái ngày 25 tháng 10 và bên phải là cái bản của ngày 15 tháng 11 gì đó. Chứng minh cho ông thấy là mình có thay đổi và mình có tạo rep, mình có khoanh lại rõ ràng. Bây giờ bên kia họ nói là họ không biết mình thay đổi cái gì. Nếu mà bên mình có tạo rep, có khoanh lại rõ ràng thì bên họ nói bậy. Có bạn vẽ chưa Long?
Có để em xem. Dạ, bạn vẽ bên tay trái là cái ngày 26 tháng 10.
Cái rack 300 gì đó. Rồi cái 300 này mình thay đổi cái gì?
Để em mở thư.
So Phil, just so we're clear, like this is what it is, right? But you know, it wasn't just threadlet. Like if it was just threadlets, you know, like taps, you know, that's you know very minor.
I
that occurs all
understand
the
that
time.
the minor stuff, and my guy said they did cloud the drawings, and again I want to make sure that we follow the protocol too, because every time we change something,
yeah. So what we ought to do then is you know, and again, I don't want to jump in here too hard. It's not, you know, this isn't the end of the world, but it's definitely room for improvement, right? So on the improvement side, what I think we should do is on the Google sheet, we should add a column for fabrication, and then so your guys are aware, like, you know, and again, because we're getting into, you know, like there's stuff that's I've already released based on certain drawings, and you know, I'm going to be releasing
cái để cái từ này ở đây. Yeah, I fully understand that we have to track these and what I want to get to the bottom of this is that why we make the changes, and then why we didn't know whether we notify anyone or not. So what they say that on the rack 300, Yeah, there's a VIC 90 instead of a welded, but my guy said that on the 26th, when they release the drawings, after they release the drawings with all the welded stuff,
Right.
but on the 27th, during the meeting, we asked them to put in VIC 90 elbow. So that's why they put in the VIC 90 elbow instead of welded elbow. So they have they show me the video that when we talk about this, because we track everything, and now they went back and said, hey, on the 27th, you asked to put in the VIC elbow.
I know we did. So I know we did. And my point to you, Phil, is that we have to have, we need to create the mechanism internally, you know, between us and you, like that. I'm going to say, here, I'm going in the fab, and here's the set of drawings I'm using for fab, so that you guys know on your end, if something's changing after that date, I'm already in fab. Do you follow me? So that's why I'm saying, if we do it on the Google sheet, you know, and we add a column for, you know, fabrication started, you know, and here's the drawing sets we're using. That's a I'm just, you know, I'm throwing this out there as an idea. I don't know how else to do it, you know. So
Okay, Sam, can you create another column to track all the drawings to when it goes to fabrication, and then every day during the meeting, we need to update that sheet.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sir. I will look.
Okay. Anyway, so the guys are showing why we changed something, and then mấy cái thay đổi này mình có cloud hết trong bản vẽ phải không Lộc?
Xem lại.
Rồi cái 300 mình thay đổi cái gì?
Yeah. See, and the reason we changed it to Vic there was because we weren't exactly sure where that other rack, you know, when we tied it in, because now when we're welded, we're locked down. Like that's the dimension. You follow me? So what I was trying to do is create a way to have a spool piece, you know, to if there's any imperfection in the concrete pour, if there's, you know, some slight deviation somewhere, I could pick it up in that rise piece. You know, see how the elbow comes up, elbows up, and then turns again in that rise piece. I could have picked up any changes in elevation there.
Hannah Richard.
Sure.
Quý vị thay đổi cái quái gì mà quý vị khoanh cả nguyên bản vẽ thì người ta biết được đâu, người ta mò. Quý vị thay đổi cái gì?
Cái này là do cái người làm buôn đó.
Làm kiểu ngu, cái này gọi là quá ngu phải không? Cái người nào làm buôn kêu họ vô họp đi. Quý vị thay đổi một cái elbow mà quý vị khoanh nguyên cái bản vẽ như vậy thì người ta biết đường đâu người ta mò. I think this is part of the problem, Richard. The guy just cloud the whole freaking drawing instead of cloud a particular fitting, a particular pipe that changed. So that's what.
So we don't know. Yeah, right. Yes.
Người nào làm mấy cái bản spool này?
Có Thuận đó, Thuận kêu Hoàng vô trình bày cái Thuận.
Quá ngu, cái này gọi là ngu, đại ngu luôn.
Dạ em nghe anh Long ơi.
Anh Hồng hỏi sao mà em thay đổi cái gì mà không lao cái vị trí, ví dụ như thêm cái lăng hay là thêm cái toilet vậy, em mới lao cái đó thôi, chứ sao lao hết những bản vẽ này.
Này do họ dùng cái bạn con họ có lao lại không anh, hay là chỉ có lao lại bạn tổng như này thôi anh?
Bây giờ Thuận ở ngoài Tuy Hòa, bây giờ cái bản vẽ này Thuận không biết người ta nhân viên làm gì hả Thuận?
Thấy cũng lao hết luôn mà.
Người nào tạo cái bản vẽ này?
Dạ họ tại bệnh viện họ mới ra ngoài đi ăn để chuẩn bị vào giờ tăng ca đó anh, cho nên không có ở tại công ty.
Đây là cái phương pháp làm việc của Tuy Hòa đó. Mỗi khi quý vị thay đổi, quý vị cloud cả đống lại như vậy thì con ma nào nó biết quý vị thay đổi cái gì?
Dạ không anh, bình thường thì khi thay đổi ở vị trí nào thì mình sẽ khoanh ở vị trí đó và sẽ khoanh ở trên bảng bom nữa anh. Nhưng mà cái này không biết là có thông tin nào không họ mới khoanh hết bảng vẽ. Còn nếu mà đặt vào trường hợp này mà thay đổi một cái phơ lăng thì phải thay đổi khoanh ở vị trí phơ lăng và lên trên bảng bom mình cũng khoanh lại ngay chỗ bảng bom để khách hàng họ biết thôi anh.
Rồi, trước nhất tôi muốn biết ha, là người nào tạo cái bản vẽ này, thứ hai người nào kiểm tra bản vẽ này trước khi giao hàng, để tôi muốn thấy cho quý vị ngu cỡ nào, phải không?
Dạ cái này thì em biết làm sai thật sự anh, để em nói lại phía những người làm spoon để em hướng dẫn lại để cho họ hiểu cái vấn đề nằm ở đâu anh.
Đây là lý do tại sao ông Bill hồi hôm qua ông phàn nàn. Đấy, cái chuyện thay đổi là cái chuyện đương nhiên, mình thay đổi, nhưng mà quý vị thay đổi cái quái gì? Bây giờ làm sao người ta biết cái phiên bản ngày 26 tây và cái phiên bản ngày 15 tây quý vị thay đổi cái quái gì trong này? Rồi quý vị đi ngược lại, quý vị tạo bản vẽ lại, quý vị tạo cho nó đúng ha, quý vị thay đổi cái gì? Bây giờ người ta đã cưa ống, người ta hàn ống ở ngoài rồi, bây giờ người ta muốn biết quý vị thay đổi cái quái gì trong này. Hiểu vấn đề không?
Dạ em hiểu rồi anh.
Giải quyết liền đi ha.
Dạ.
Cho quý vị 1 tiếng đồng hồ gửi cho tôi lại những cái bản vẽ. Trước khi cái buổi họp này xong tôi mới thấy cái bản vẽ rõ ràng, thay đổi cái gì cloud rõ ràng lại. Hiểu vấn đề ha?
Dạ em hiểu rồi.
Làm liền đi. Okay, yeah, Richard, I saw what the problem is. Yeah, the guy just cloud a whole freaking drawing instead of just a particular piece. So that kind of throw people up. So I asked him to go back and just cloud whatever changes that were made.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Bill saw it just kind of threw him off too. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. So like what happened to the 6-inch? I think it's
Rồi, bây giờ trở lại cái thư. Có một cái đoạn nào mà có thêm 6 inch gì đó. Rồi, cái 2 feet 4, cái rack 301 á. 2 feet 4 và 2 feet 8. Quý vị gắn 6 inch ở đâu, lý do là cái gì? Bây giờ tôi kêu quý vị kiểm tra lại, là ai kiểm tra mấy cái này?
Cái này á, là Linh chạy anh, mà Linh hiện tại bây giờ có việc nhà nên là nghĩ rằng cho nên là giờ em giải thích cái này em cũng không rõ cho nên giải thích nên không được.
Quý vị nghĩ cái đây là trò chơi hả? Người ta cưa ống, mấy cái ống này là tốn cả ngàn đồng một ống, quý vị có biết không? Bây giờ quý vị đổi từ 4 inch qua 8 inch, bây giờ cái thư này qua đây là 2 ngày rồi. Bây giờ người ta muốn biết vấn đề là cái gì. Nếu mà tôi không giải thích hợp lý cho họ là tôi có bỏ tiền túi ra tôi đền cho họ. Quý vị có hiểu cái vấn đề nó nghiêm trọng cỡ nào không? Có ai hiểu cái vấn đề nó nghiêm trọng cỡ nào không?
Ủa, đổi từ ống từ cái này.
Lan có đó không Lan? Lan có đó không Lan?
so let me see here.
Cái này thông thường tụi em ví dụ như có sửa thì chủ yếu là kéo chỉnh sửa cái len của ống này cái nọ thôi, chứ đâu có chỉnh cái size lớn nhỏ gì đâu.
I'm gonna forward this to you.
Nghe không anh ơi?
Tôi hỏi quý vị có ai hiểu cái sự việc nghiêm trọng cỡ nào không? Bây giờ đây là cái thời điểm người ta bắt đầu người ta đổ lỗi. Bây giờ mình chỉnh sửa cái gì? Bây giờ tôi hỏi tôi cho quý vị 2 ngày để tìm hiểu nguyên nhân rồi. Bây giờ tôi hỏi lại không ai biết đầu đuôi là như thế nào hết. Cái người làm thì không có mặt. Vấn đề là cái gì đây? Bây giờ người ta đổ lỗi. Nếu mà tôi làm sai cái đoạn ống này tôi phải bỏ tiền túi ra tôi đền. Quý vị hiểu sự việc nó nghiêm trọng cỡ nào không? Có hiểu không?
I just sent you something. Let's take a look at this together.
Cái này bây giờ để em anh nghe không anh? Không nghe ta. Dạ thì để em kêu Long gọi điện thoại cho Linh hỏi, tại vì ba của Linh đang có vấn đề cho nên là Linh đang chạy về nhà gấp á anh.
Này để em liên lạc với Linh để em hỏi rõ hơn. Cái này nãy anh nói là cái thay đổi cái size ống vậy anh nói lại mà em để em trình bày cho Linh rõ hơn.
So Phil, here's the good thing is you're getting highly scrutinized, right? That is the good, honestly, that's a good thing, right? So in other words, they're not kicking you to the side. They're not kicking you to the curb and saying, this is all junk, we got to redo it ourselves, right? So they're taking your, stuff that, whether you realize it or not, that's actually a good thing, right? The bad thing is, well, the challenge we have is we have to tighten up our end, right? So I just sent you, another piece of feedback. They actually took out an internal change order on this to track, the added costs and labor, because I locked them down into a fixed, a fixed budget,
Okay.
so because we I've had so many challenges, getting stuff through the shop. So I wanted a lockdown budget. And when you lock down the budget and then you change something, you got to unlock the budget and make it bigger, right? So
Yeah.
that's so that's on my end, right? So, and that's manageable, right? But what I'm saying to you is things like this, the 6-inch pipe and fittings that were not accounted for in the BOM. I can't understand that. Like that one doesn't make sense to me. And then, he's saying he had to order 4 additional 10-inch 90s. What I was also being told was there was pipe ends that were noted as plain end, or beveled end, and then they needed to be Vic end and vice versa. And so there's a little bit of QC that we have to do internally, and just make sure that everything can marry to each other. You know what I mean? So, and I didn't look at it that deeply. It looked okay to me. Again, I got a million things going on. So
yeah, I understand. You would not have time to and then
really
that's just so many.
every joint, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Same
so,
here.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
I don't know
so
all the
that's
details.
The point of this. So Phil, just so you understand, that's the point of this conversation. The point of this conversation is, again, we're not going to be perfect. Nobody's asking you to be perfect, but this one here, I see enough turns in the road that we need to correct. You know what I mean? I think we need to tighten up. So the first part is, here's the line in the sand. These drawings, this set of drawings is going to either fabrication or being issued to the field. So say we're installing hangers, which pretty much is the whole job, right? Anything that affects the hangers and any of the layout, that needs to be flagged and ballooned specific to the change, right? I don't balloon the whole drawing, to your point, right? In other words, if we're changing 4 hanger, locations, we should be ballooning for 4 locations on that drawing that we were using originally. That to me is going to tighten this up. This happens on every job, so this is nothing new. And it happens whether you draw it or whether I draw it internally. You know what I mean? Like this is just normal stuff. But what do you do with other guys? I mean, I'm assuming this isn't the first time this has happened.
Yeah, it's kind of a how do I say this? Normally we have like 2 levels of QC before a drawing goes out the door.
Right.
What I see, there's a breakdown. That's why I was kind of screaming at my guys earlier, was that we bypassed some of the QC process on our side. They were saying that, hey, you asked for these deadlines that we couldn't meet. So
okay.
That's not, because we are doing so many things at so many. I mean, one day they were doing this, and the next day we asked them to add more and more to it, and they're stretching. Yeah. That's a problem. And another part of the problem is we are limited in terms of how many people we can put on the project due to the BIM 360 issue. Yeah. It just slowed down the the more people we put on it, it's going to slow down into kind of unmanageable speed. And so we have to take the model and bring it down to do it offline. That's part of the problem. There's a disconnect between the offline and the online. Oh, again, that's to make the whole story short. It's just that we need a little more time to do it properly. Yeah, it's just.
Okay. Well, so again, this is the essence of this conversation, right?
Yeah.
You kind of, that's your feedback to me, just saying, hey, Rich, I can issue those drawings, but I really need another 2 days to QC them. Your call, right? You know, in other words, you know, to me, that's a conversation between you and I, in advance of, you know. So again, this is, I understand what you're saying. I know I'm pushing you. I get it, and I know I'm stretching the resources. I get that.
Yeah, but still, there's no excuse for my guys on that process broken down that they. This is crazy. I mean, you make a change and then you just cloud the whole freaking drawing. Who would people know where the changes are? So I'm asking the guys in charge of that task to go back and figure out what the changes are and just cloud the particular fitting or particular dimension that will change, not the whole drawing like that. So they're doing that. And again, it's some of the procedure that should be that they should follow, but it wasn't. So that's on my part, and I need to work on that. And then also with Sam tracking these drawings with to see where it's in fabrication, so that would help too. Yes.
Yeah. So that you know, so we have that line in the sand to say, here's what we're, you know, so, you know, today I'm hoping to have, you know, sector, you know, and again, I'm throwing this out there, Phil, you know, I'm looking for your feedback, but I'm looking for sector 3 and 4 in those, you know, in those portfolio packages, you know, the way, you know, the way I'm going to hand it off for fabrication. We're also going to be handing all the hangers and, you know, the upper and lower hanger attachment drawings to the field, you know, to get all the hangers in those sectors. So that's, you know, again, our discussion to make sure that, you know, everybody understand, okay, this is what we're using. And some things are going to change. I mean, we both know that it happens, right? But I think then we can be a lot more precise in saying, not the whole drawing, just these 4 hangers, and, you know, and we're done. You know what I mean? Because, you know, otherwise, you know, to your point, if we balloon the whole drawing, guys' heads are going to blow up. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on. So
but again, the guys are going back and give us a few more minutes, and then we're going to find out exactly what happened, and then that's going on right now. But regarding the hangers drawing, give me a minute, let me find out where things are. Hồi hôm qua ông có kêu mình tạo mấy bản vẽ hangers đó, cho thấy cái dàn là mấy cái thanh trapeze nào mà bắt lên trên trần nhà, trên cái sườn nhà là một bản riêng, và một bản trapeze hanger cho những cái nào mà nâng mấy cái ống, mấy cái đó tới đâu rồi? Mình đang nghe không?
Dạ nghe anh.
Chiến ơi.
Dạ em nghe anh ơi.
Nãy nào mới hỏi kìa, trả lời kìa.
Dạ thì hôm qua là anh ấy kêu tạo cái bản vẽ, nhưng mà em làm được cái phần bom, chứ cái phần tạo cái bản vẽ đấy thì em cũng làm. Em làm cái phần bom của hanger với lại của rack với lại của ống.
Tất nhiên là hôm qua tôi kêu quý vị tạo cái bản vẽ cho hanger, chưa ai làm hết hay sao? Ở trong buổi họp tôi kêu làm cái gì, có ai ghi xuống không?
Cái đoạn đó là họp thì nói là đang làm cái bom là bên bên Tuy Hòa họ share cái bản đó là cái bản bom đó mà chiến là
Cái đấy
một
là
cái là gắn ở trên sàn nhà với một cái là gác trên bim mà.
Không, em làm cảnh giao cho em là làm phần bom anh Tuấn ơi, còn cái bản vẽ mà anh Hùng nói hôm qua là thì không, chưa có làm. Còn đấy là cái bản vẽ, tạo cái bản vẽ đấy là khác, còn cái phần bom là
Tất nhiên
em
hôm
lên
qua
cảnh
trong
giao
buổi
cho
họp
phần
hôm
bom
qua
mà.
nói cái gì hoàn toàn không ai lưu lại gì hết. Tôi đang nhìn cái bản Google Sheet, không ai ghi cái vấn đề đó, không ai ghi xuống là biết cái đéo gì mà làm. Lan,
Give me a minute, I'll be right back.
Lan nghe không Lan?
Nha anh, thì các em chán chịu không nổi luôn á.
Bây giờ làm sao đây? Quý vị nghĩ là buổi họp này trả tiền cho một đống người vô ngồi là chỉ ngồi nghe chơi không á hả?
Chứ rõ ràng cái đoạn đó là cái bản bom đó là nói là làm chim đồ là với có chiến có đồ, với lại bên Tuy Hòa trình bày là bên em làm mà chiến. Giờ nói không làm là
Tôi
đó
hỏi
nè.
lại ha, có ai ghi xuống trong cái bản Google Sheet để sau buổi họp quý vị còn biết là trong buổi họp nói cái gì không? Để rồi bây giờ hỏi lại không có ma nào biết. Nhìn sao đây?
Để bọn em tạo các bản này.
Richard, are you there?
So I don't think Lori gave you any feedback on the hangers and the cup. Did she or didn't she? You there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here listening. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you busy with something else, or you want to?
Yeah. I'm just asking the guys to see where the hangers are, and they are not done yet. So what? Bây giờ chừng nào cái bản này sẽ có cho ông vậy? Bây giờ người ta thi công ở ngoài đó, quý vị, người ta đợi bản vẽ đó. Quý vị tính ngâm bao lâu nữa?
Tuấn giao người làm liền đi. Tuấn.
Dạ, thì em làm.
Chiến làm mấy cái bản bom cho nó xong hôm nay đi Chiến.
Dạ, bom đang làm chị, cái section 3 thì xong rồi, đang làm section 4 chị.
Thì section 4 cuối ngày hôm nay cũng phải giao mà.
Vâng, đang làm cuối ngày giao chị.
Rồi Tuấn giao cho người khác làm cái phần hanger này liền đi Tuấn.
Dạ.
Chiến nó chỉ có lo cái phần bom thôi.
Rồi cái hanger giờ tôi nói lại ha, làm ơn ghi xuống cái bản hanger. Khi nói hanger tất nhiên có trapeze, có mấy cái clevis hanger, có mấy cái hanger rod đầy đủ hết. Hồi hôm qua gì đó thằng Xem hay là ai đó, hay là bên Tuy Hòa vậy, có cho thấy bản vẽ của bên PBM làm. Thì người nào không hiểu cách làm hay cái gì đó thì làm ơn liên lạc với thằng Xem hoặc liên lạc Tuy Hòa. Hôm qua cái bản đó là nằm đâu ra rồi? Có một bản mẫu của bên PBM đó làm. Cái bản đó hôm qua ai share vậy?
Dạ bên Tuy Hòa share.
Phú xe cái bản đó.
Tất nhiên là bên Phú hoặc là người nào làm cái đã biết cần cái gì phải không?
Dạ em đang cắt TH mấy người làm ấy. Rồi
thì nói lại ha, cần hai bản, một bản thể hiện những cái thanh trapeze bắt vào cái dạng cái sườn của cái trần nhà phía trên, rồi từ đó mình thả hanger xuống để mình bắt vào cái trapeze nâng ống ha. Thì phải chia làm hai bản thì mình mới thấy được, tại nó nằm thẳng hàng với nhau, mình không thấy được nếu mình để chung một bản ha. Tạo hai bản riêng, hai bản bom riêng chung, giống như cái dạng giống y như là cái bản của BBM hôm qua vậy đó. Rồi mấy cái trim balls, quý vị cần trim balls mới ra được mấy cái con số đó phải không?
Vâng đúng rồi anh, phải có chimbo mới có điểm control point anh.
Richard, we need the trim ball files that Chuck or somebody from Lori's side generated so that we can synchronize the trim ball points with the hangers that we have. Otherwise, there will be a disconnect.
Yeah, didn't you ask that from Lori? You asked Lori for that yesterday? I thought you did.
I thought we did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you did.
Anyway, Sam, send an email to Lori to ask for the Trimble files for
copy
sector
Chuck.
3 and 4.
Copy Chuck
Yeah,
on that.
yeah. Okay, so I'll send it right away.
Yeah, copy Chuck. I'm going to tell you how I like to see the hangers. I'm just, and now in the cup, it just, because to me the cup is like our space. But if you looked in the cup, right, and you turn on the steel and and then you ghost in the piping that you're going to be hanging in the area. So you ghost it real light, and then you put your hanger points, for what you're grabbing. And I think you're going to have maybe at least two different hanger types out there, right? You're going to have the hanger type that is for picking up the rack, which I think are going to be 7/8 rod. And then I think mostly everything else is going to be 3/8 rod. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. There could be some 1/2-inch rod out there. I'm not sure. But my point to you is that's the preferred way I like to see it. And then those Trimble points should correspond to that drawing, right? But what happens then is the guy sees what he's hanging versus just putting up a random point, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, let me make sure the guys are doing it. Okay, but first of all, do you want the cup, the hanger drawings for the cup first, or
3 and 4? Yeah.
So 3 and 4 first, and then that's what.
Yeah, unless she can't get you the Trimble, unless you have to shift because you're not getting the rest of the information you need, then I would say shift over to the cup. But yeah, 3 and 4 is first for sure.
We need a schedule of delivery and the area of installation or something so that we focus the resources on. Yeah, otherwise right now I'm spreading the resources all over the place, but we need a schedule. My guys work best with schedules, with dates. So let's see.
Yeah. Okay. So we're already supposed to be starting in 3 and 4. So that one's
okay. So 3 and 4. All right.
Yeah, 3 and 4, and then the cup will be ready. So they're pouring the cup on Friday. So come Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be ready to install in the cup. So if that helps you.
Okay. Now, so 3 and 4, and how about 1B, 2B? That's done, right? Or
well, 1B and 2B, we're using the So again, this is probably good for us to kind of circle back and just make sure, like, okay, this is Marty, is this the drawings you're using for your rough end? Because I think we got to double back on that. And Phil, I don't want to bog everybody down here with that, but that's an effort I think me, you, and Sam need to get with the field team and just make sure what drawings they're using, for roughing and laying out hangers. But 1B and 2B, I think they're using the information that's already been delivered. So that's what we're going off of.
Okay, Sam, I need you to organize the drawings sets and have another column in the Google Sheet to track when the drawings goes to fabrication. As what we've been discussing. Yeah, we need to track that. Yeah. So I don't know how you're going to do it, but figure things out. You are the documentation control guru, so you figure it out. But we need to track these drawings so that. Anyway, so we're going to focus on 3 and 4 now. As soon as we again print this up to Lori today and ask for the Trimble files. Without that, we can't do much. Yeah, we need those Trimble files.
Oh, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then so what else we need? Okay, phía bên mình sẽ tạo cái bản vẽ hangers ha. Nhưng mà bây giờ cái bản trim balls mình chưa có thì mình có thể làm trước rồi nó có trim balls thì mình sẽ đánh số sau hay là sao?
Một trong hai cái nó làm trước cũng được anh.
Rồi giờ phía mình làm trước. Lan liên lạc với Tuy Hòa hoặc là Đà Nẵng hoặc là Phú Thọ gì đó, coi người nào rành về mấy cái này nhất để làm, chứ không phải là vô là Letterman làm bậy làm bạ ha.
Dạ cái này thì em thấy Phú Thọ là rành cái phần trimble này nhiều nhất nè anh, tại vì làm mấy lần là thấy ok ổn, khách không có nói gì hết.
Dạ thì cho em hỏi luôn là khách cần định dạng nào anh? Mình có 3 định dạng, một là .map, hai là .tlf, 3 là .txt, thì hỏi xem họ cần cái định dạng nào thì mình xuất ra định dạng đó gửi cho họ.
Đánh mấy cái chữ đó qua kìa, bỏ cho các bạn Google Sheet.
Anh Hùng cho em hỏi là làm cái hanger đấy là mình làm sector 3, 4 hay là mình làm toàn bộ anh?
Ngay bây giờ tập trung người ta thi công sector 3 và sector 4.
Dạ.
Dạ đấy, mình có 3 cái định dạng đó anh.
Quý vị đánh vô đầu nhỉ?
Em có bên chat của Sky của
Tôi kêu quý vị đánh trực tiếp vô cái bảng Google Sheet.
Dạ.
Quý vị biết cái bảng đó là bảng gì không?
Chiến đọc đi, chị đang ghi là Chiến.
Dạ .map.
Net NET hả?
Đây em gõ qua cho chị ạ.
Tất cả những người nào có mặt trong buổi họp này làm ơn quý vị phải vô cái bảng Google Sheet. Để khi mà người ta kêu mình làm cái gì đó quý vị đánh trực tiếp vô liền. Lan không làm chuyện vớ vẩn này ha. Tôi muốn tất cả những người nào có mặt trong buổi họp này vô cái bảng Google Sheet ngay bây giờ. Cái công việc nào có liên quan tới quý vị đánh trực tiếp vô đây. Để tôi nhìn tôi biết là quý vị hiểu tôi nói cái gì, hiểu tôi kêu quý vị làm cái gì không. Cái cột B là cái phần công việc phải làm, cái cột C là giao cho người nào làm. Quý vị ghi loạn cào cào ở trong này hết ha. Cảnh quý vị ghi vớ vẩn trong cái bảng Google Sheet này. Cái phần cái cột B description là công việc cần phải làm, và cái cột C là assign to, có nghĩa là người nào sẽ làm công việc đó, chứ không phải ghi loạn cào cào như vậy ha. Hiểu vấn đề không Cảnh?
Dạ em hiểu rồi, để em sửa lại.
Hiện bây giờ đó Chiến, trên cái bảng Revit của mình có đủ thông tin để mình xuất mấy cái trimble ra không?
Dạ được anh, cái này mình xuất ra MAG rồi mình.
Mà chắc chắn phải không? Chắc chắn là mình xuất ra được.
Dạ, em xuất rồi, từ sáng ngày em làm bom xuất ra MAG làm.
Okay,
So Sam, I'm just thinking through this, and what we probably should do on that Google sheet is we should have, I think the column should say fabrication or installation, right? Backslash installation. And then we should also add a column in assigned to, right? In other words, who's the apex of, where those drawings are being used, right? So because I'm shooting this out to so many different people, right? So the apex person on the cup fab is my internal foreman, Jesse, right? It's actually Bill, Bill Egan's managing that. So that he becomes the, assigned to party. If, as an example, if I'm giving the sector 3 and sector 4 racks to Half Moon, that the assigned person will be Dave Herkenham, right? So in other words, we'll have a place to know, like, something changed and Dave needs to know, something changed and Bill needs to know, you know what I mean? Like who's, if we change a hanger, we got to get with Marty, you know what I mean? Marty needs to know. So does that make sense?
Yeah, so we'll need to inform the person in case if there is any change in this particular service in any
Yep.
particular thing. We'll need to inform the respective persons.
Yeah, we'll know who to flag. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, Phil, you were saying something?
No, hang on.
Dạ anh Hùng cho em giải thích cái rác mà 301 nữa mà.
Rồi vấn đề là gì?
Dạ cái này dời cái thiêu led chứ không có thay đổi size ống này. Cái lý do mà để dời cái thiêu led đó là cái vị trí cũ ở cái bản spool ngày mình giao cho họ là ngày 26 tháng 10 á, đó là khi để cái bao ở vị trí đó thì sẽ không có tiếp cận được bao, cho nên là mình phải dời ra theo cái vị trí hiện tại là sẽ phải
bây giờ quý vị nói lung tung vậy tôi không hiểu quý vị nói gì hết. Làm ơn mở bản vẽ lên chứng minh cho tôi thấy, so sánh giữa các bản vẽ ngày 25 và bản vẽ ngày 15, khoanh lại cái nào nó thay đổi.
Dạ cho em xem màn hình.
Wow, we got quite the team here today, man.
Yeah, because I yesterday I raised hell with them and said, you know, this is not working out, guys. So whoever works on this better show up during the meeting.
Nice.
Yeah, so sorry, Richard. This is internal on my side, but
no,
yeah, it's just crazy. Yeah,
this is good. This is good.
Dạ anh thấy màn hình em dạ.
Mở cái bảng spool lên cho tôi thấy cái bảng ngày 25 là nó như thế nào và cái bảng ngày 15 tháng 11 nó khác biệt như thế nào, chứ tôi không cần biết trên model nó là cái gì.
Yeah.
Rồi bên trái là bảng ngày
stop xe đi cảnh anh xem màn hình đây có cái hình phía dưới cái thư nữa đó. Thấy mở lên nó dễ thấy là.
Dạ anh xem.
Rồi anh thấy cái hình không, là mấy cái chỗ này như cái bảng 301 nè. Thay đổi nè.
Rồi, cái đó là cái thay đổi duy nhất phải không?
Di chuyển cái thép OLED đi. Đó. Rồi cái 302 á, thì bỏ cái mối hàn đi, mình kéo full lên cái ống.
Cái full length nào?
Dạ, bên trái là cũ anh, bên trái là cũ nào, đây bên phải là mới nè. Là có nghĩa là anh thấy cái mối hàn không, ngay chỗ này có mối hàn 2 chấm màu đỏ, hai cái gạch màu đỏ nè. Bay qua đây là đã xóa 2 cái mối hàn để mình kéo cái ống nó full lên ra.
Rồi mà lúc đầu là tại sao là có mối hàn ở đó?
Cảnh biết không ạ?
Dạ anh cái lúc đầu là cái người họ chạy họ cắt bị sai đó anh. Tới sau có cuộc họp của bà Lori và để nói là chỗ này không cần phải có mối hàn, cho nên là đã chỉnh sửa lại, xóa mối hàn đi cho full length ống ạ.
Tuy nhiên quý vị phải đợi cho khách hàng chỉ ra là quý vị chạy ống vớ vẩn rồi quý vị mới thay đổi à. Phải vậy không? Hay là quý vị phải tự biết mà đi kiểm tra để thấy nhân viên có làm cái chuyện vớ vẩn và có người phải bắt liền?
Dạ thì cái này bên em làm sai.
Rồi quý vị làm sai chuyện đương nhiên là ai cũng biết rồi phải không? Bây giờ cái bản vẽ này người ta đưa ra bắt đầu người ta cưa ống, người ta thi công rồi, người ta mới phát hiện là cái bữa ngày 25 tháng 10 quý vị đưa chân là bản vẽ người ta cắt ống, người ta thi công như vậy rồi. Hôm nay 15 tây quý vị đưa bản ống mới. Đây là vấn đề. Nếu mà lỗi của mình là mình hốt tiền túi là mình trả cho anh ta làm lại. Tôi muốn biết người nào làm cái chuyện vớ vẩn này và người nào kiểm tra. Lan ghi xuống.
Có thông tin nữa Linh có nói là cái thông tin này khi mình sửa ống ngày 27 tháng 10 thì mình đã cập nhật full và gửi lại cho khách liền đó. Nhưng không hiểu sao mà cái ngày 27 tháng 10 khách không lấy xuống mà đợi tới ngày 15 tháng 11 mà khi mình cập nhật section cho đúng rồi mình không.
Thế nhưng mình giao qua cho họ ngày nào?
Dạ ngày 27 là mình đã giao rồi anh.
Trên cái bản vẽ
Dạ.
thì ngày
Dạ.
26 quý vị có, quý vị làm rồi 27 quý vị đổi rồi một lần nữa,
dạ.
phải không?
Dạ đúng
Rồi qua
anh.
cái ngày 15 là quý vị đổi cái gì nữa?
Dạ anh, cái
15
ngày đầu
là
tiên để em giải thích cho anh Long. Dạ anh, cái ngày đầu tiên mà mình giao á là cái lúc đó chưa có thông tin mà gắn cái bài 300, là gắn cái Victolic fitting và cái flange. Rồi là lúc đó là mình kéo dim cho bài cái bản spool kéo dim nó bị sai, không đúng ý. Dạ, ngày 27 á, là mình có cuộc họp là mình thay đổi cái fitting Victolic ở bản 300 và bên em dời cái ống mà của cái thiêu led để có thể mà tiếp cận được cái vào và bỏ cái mối hàn đi. Thì các em cũng có cái viết thư cái ngày 27 tháng 10 và gửi cho khách. Còn cái ngày 15 tháng 11 thay đổi á, đó là gắn cái FM. Anh xuống xí anh Long.
Rồi đặt mấy cái flow meter vô.
Dạ Long có tên rồi.
Dạ. Cái đó không có vấn đề. Bây giờ có cái vấn đề là trước đó cái vụ cái ngày 15 gắn mấy cái flow meter, cái chuyện sau này. Từ ngày 26 qua ngày 27 quý vị có tạo ref không?
Dạ có tạo và có gửi thư anh.
Mở mấy cái bản spool này.
Dạ để em đao cái ngày 27 về.
Richard, sorry to waste your time here, but I want to go to the bottom of this to find out what really happened. Yeah, so that we don't we can stop the the damage. Yeah.
Phil, I appreciate that. And again, I just so you know, just so you understand, I take full responsibility for this. So, I'm pushing you guys, and I get it. And things like this happen. The goal of the conversation is, what can we put in place that will prevent some of this? So I'm not finding fault with anything anybody's done. This is I am really pushing you guys, and I appreciate everything you guys are doing. So just so you understand that.
Yeah. Thank you for your understanding. Yeah, but again, this is a kind of a breakdown on my side, and they what they've been telling me is that on the it seems like they issue multiple multiple revision one after another, and chances are Bill is using an older version. So
that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. So one of the things that we want, that, and again, this is why I wanted to just to stress, it's like, so putting these packages together, we'll have a place to say, here's the BOMs I used, here's the spool sheets I used, here's the shop drawings that I used, you know what I mean, for fabric, so like the stuff for the racks in sector 3 and 4, I'm going to be handing those to Half Moon. I'm going to be handing those to Herkenham, and now we have a line in the sand to say, on November 17th, we sent them this package. It had this, this data in it, and then anything that changes in those areas, based on those, that package of drawings or information, that's what your guys need to know. That has to get updated. And Dave, obviously, and me have to get flagged that there's a change. So that's it.
Yeah. We need to make sure the drawings going to the shop. We know, and I know which version goes to the shop.
Correct.
Yeah, because they were explaining earlier on the 26th, they issue one revision. On the 27th, they issue another revision because we have meetings daily, so they keep on updating things. And and then on the 15th, when there's a change in the flow meter, there's another change there. So there are multiple revision, and I'm going to find out the difference between the the first two. So the guys gonna show. Okay, quý vị có chưa? Mà mở lên coi.
Để em trước anh.
Yeah, on the 15, that's when we added the flow meters. So that's just a parallel. So that's not a big deal. But the other ones was just during the meetings, we asked them to do certain things. So it seems like Bill is using the version on the 25th instead of the 2026.
Correct. And so what I'm gonna do internally for my guys is have them hand back to me, right? So in other words, they're gonna say, I'm gonna get an email from them saying, here's the package of drawings that I'm working off of, right? So I'm gonna do the same thing on my end, just so we have that handshake. Because this stuff happens and
okay. Okay, hang on. Okay, quý vị lưu ý cái điểm này ha. Từ nay về sau tôi không muốn nhắc cái chuyện này nữa. Các bản vẽ cũ luôn lúc nào cũng phải nằm bên trái. Các bản vẽ mới luôn lúc nào cũng nằm bên phải. Người ta đi từ bên trái qua bên phải ha.
Dạ, bản bên trái là bản cũ anh.
Cho tôi coi cái ngày.
Dạ, ngày 20.
Rồi từ cái ngày 26 là cái bản nào? Rồi tới ngày 27.
Dạ, 26.
Bây giờ trước nhất quý vị phải so sánh cái phiên bản ngày 26 và cái phiên bản ngày 27.
Dạ, vậy để em...
Yeah, you see that consecutive revisions are one after another.
Yeah.
So it seems like
here's my question. Here's my question to you, Phil. Like if and again, this is just a process thing. What would make the most sense to me? And again, this is just how I think, right? Is if there's a rev that comes, so we issue this set 1025, right? 1026 comes, right? I take the ISO view drawing and I balloon or arrow the change. And then the only other drawings I'm including or spools that I'm including are what spools that changed. In other words, I'm not reissuing the whole package of drawings, right? I'm just giving you.
Yeah, I fully understand. You just issue the one that what we should have done is just have one package on box only, one PDF that has.
Dạ anh, cái bản bên tay trái
Always have the latest. Bây giờ ok, một cái là ngày 25 qua cái time block bên phải kìa. Hai, tôi muốn thấy cái bản vẽ bên trái và cái bản vẽ bên phải cùng một bản vẽ.
Did we figure out what happened to the 6-inch? Where did the 6-inch? Where do we miss that? That one. That's the one that bothered me. To be honest with you.
Với Cảnh có hiểu tôi muốn cái gì không Cảnh? Nếu không hiểu thì dẹp đi ha. Kêu người nào hiểu ra trình bày cái vấn đề cho tôi biết. Giờ tôi muốn biết cái bản vẽ bên trái của cái ngày quý vị đưa ngày 25 rồi qua 27 vấn đề khác biệt nhau chỗ nào?
Dạ, đây là bản 301. Khác biệt nhau đó là có sự thay đổi giữa cái gắn cái thiêu led đây. Một bản cũ thì gắn tia LED ở vị trí này. Bạn mới là họ đã giờ tia LED ngay vị trí này.
Đây là thay đổi duy nhất, ngoài ra không có gì khác biệt hết, không có thay đổi dimension, không có gì hết, đúng không?
Dạ không thay đổi dimension này, cứ thay đổi cái
rồi trở lại cái thư phải họ thắc mắc như vậy không? Thư họ thắc mắc cái khác.
Dạ thư họ thắc mắc như vậy để cái thư. Dạ, bạn 301 đây là họ nói đó là cái tia LED cái này.
While he's looking on that, the other thing that I noticed is our animation doesn't match the spool numbers, right? So I think we're using 300 through 310 or whatever. Our animation has 1 through 8 or 9, you know. So you should probably match those on the animation.
Ok, quý vị thoát ra ngoài, quý vị sắp xếp cho tôi ha. Cái bảng 300 quý vị thay đổi cái gì quý vị khoanh lại. Dựa theo cái thư này 300 họ nói là cái viết elbow gì, well đít gì đó. Thay đổi cái gì? Rồi quý vị sắp xếp mấy cái bản vẽ rồi quý vị trả lại bữa hỏi. Thoát ra ngoài đi. 300, 301, 302, 303, tất cả những vấn đề họ đề cập tới trong cái thư này, quý vị khoanh lại, quý vị chứng minh cho tôi thấy.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they still they're trying to show the difference, but right now it doesn't really matter that much. I just want them to cloud whatever changes they make. Yeah. Okay, Richard. Let's see.
Oh, Phil, don't get all worked up over this. All right. I know it's late and you're tired, but don't. You know, I'm good. I'm okay. So don't think I'm. So there's going to be somebody joining us probably around 6:30 or so, maybe, you know, a little before 7. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to really nail down the heat trace. And so the heat trace.
I think we sent the bomb out yesterday, right, Seth?
You did. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's more to it. Yeah. So
okay.
So the heat trace is really very, very specific, right? So if we can go to the roof, maybe in Navis, and then look at it in Navis, I think I can explain, you know, what the nuances of it is.
Ok, phía mình share cái bản Navis để cho ông coi cái trên mái nhà.
And the reason that it's a little bit of a struggle, Phil, is it's a gap, it's a design gap that they've kind of pushed off till the last, and there's a lot of loose ends on it, and I think it's a bit of a problem. So
Okay, cho ông thấy toàn bộ cái mái nhà. Yeah, I'm gonna have him pull up the roof, and then we can focus on whatever the area that is in question. Okay.
So when we start here, right? The first, you know, this is a good drawing to start with, right? The first thing we want to do is we want to balloon all of the items that we're heat tracing, right? So if we start on the top of the page, you know, those 4 chillers, you know, the air-cooled chillers on the top of the page. Those 4.
Okay, tạo cái viewpoint. Rồi ghi rõ ràng nó là heat tracing. Heat là chữ T chứ không phải chữ D ha. Rồi, bây giờ quý vị khoanh lại 4 cái chiller. Bốn cái chiller phía trên.
Yeah.
khoanh rồi.
And then the next those four air handling units.
Rồi khoanh bốn cái air handling unit.
And then 8400 was the one right in the middle. Yep, where he is.
Rồi cái đó, cái ngay giữa đó.
Yep. Okay.
And the one on the lower left, right?
No, that one's coming. That one's coming up in the curb, Phil. That one should be fine.
Oh, okay, that's one fine. Okay.
Yeah, that one's got a curb. So now what we want to do. So you gave me the footage that I asked for, which is 1 foot up into the vestibule and 2 foot below the roof line, right?
Right.
So
and all the piping in between.
Yes, yeah. So right now, what we want to do is we want to cut section into a unit and pull it down to like 1 foot above the vestibule and kind of so we may have to do this in ISO,
Okay.
or on an angle, on a tilt, so that you can see, so we can highlight like this is the pipe here's the gist of this. The reason why this becomes a little more complex is because lineal footage wise, you're restricted by the overall length of footage that you can run on a circuit, and because of that, what you do typically is say I'm covering the chill water pipe, right? I'll start at the bottom and I'll run up and I'll cover the chill water pipe, and then continuously I will put a jumper that goes from the chill water supply to the chill water return, right? And then I'll go down the chill water pipe, so you're trying to keep a continuous circuit. Sometimes you got to put a junction box in there and then splice into the next section. but basically what you're doing is so that would be one circuit that would feed that entire rooftop unit, right? And so we may have to add splices, we may have to add jumpers. Then the other part of it is like they also want the traps that are on the outside of the unit, those condensate traps. They want those heat traced as well, right? So now you have to run, probably inside the unit, you got to run a conductor, you got to run that cabling and get it to the outside, so that you can wrap it. So what typically happens is you exceed the allowable lineal footage per the circuit, and what that means is now you got to add other circuits, you got to add additional circuits, and there may or may not be those circuits available in the panels. And so that's one part. The other part is the way the circuits that got left out for this are 120 volt, and you normally run 208, to just to make sure you got enough juice, to push all that.
So the way we gave you the linear footage is not going to work.
We're going to be short. We're going to be short. We're going to be short. Yeah. So so that's why what I was trying to drive at is I'd like to take so then the other question came up. Do we do all the piping inside the vestibule, even though we have a fan coil in the vestibule trying to heat the pipe and keep it from freezing? So these are all the portions that I have to push back and say, if you decide to do the entire vestibule, and what I want to do is I want to take the most probably whatever one has the most piping in it is the one we want to focus on. So that would be, and then what I would do is I'd say multiply that by 5. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to measure down to the last friggin' nut. You know what I mean? But I'll get close. I'll get really, really close.
Okay.
Right? So I'm sorry, it's become a little more complicated, but that's so what I want to do is I want to ISO view, what's in whatever the unit has the most piping in it. I want to ISO view that, and then I want to say, okay, here's the lineal footage if you're just going 1 foot up and 2 foot below, right? And then here's the overall footage of all the piping in the vestibule, and then you guys decide, because I can take that footage and you multiply it by 5, and you come up with your circuiting and what has to happen on the design side. There's a big design side effort, but I need to give them this information for them to be able to do that.
Okay, that goes for the 5 air handling units. So do we do the same for the chillers? We do just 1 and then multiply by 4?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, let's see. Okay, trong 5 cái air handling unit này, có ai biết là cái nào là có nhiều ống nhất không? Nhiều ống mà chạy từ dưới lên đó. Nhiều loại ống. Tuy nhiên mình có cái air handling unit nó có như có 1-2 ống chạy lên thôi, mà có cái thì nó có nhiều ống chạy lên. Là cái nào là có nhiều ống nhất trong 5 cái này?
Nghe anh ơi.
Nói đi.
Dạ cái 8050 này nhiều nè, và là cái 8040 này cũng tương đối cũng nhiều đó.
Thì cái mà ông muốn làm bây giờ đó là bữa trước đó mình đo cho ổng từng cái một, nhưng mà có những cái vấn đề khác mà bây giờ ổng nói mình không thực sự không có giờ để làm hết 5 cái. Ổng chính muốn tập trung vào một cái, mình đo chính xác cho ổng rồi mình nhân 5 lên thì nó sẽ giải quyết được vấn đề cho ổng. Cái chiller cũng vậy ha. 4 cái chiller này mình coi chọn cái nào có nhiều ống nhất, nhiều ống mà đi như là nó bị như là từ cái chiller chạy xuống xuyên qua mái nhà đó, có nhiều ống nhất đó thì mình ổng cần cái đó rồi mình nhân 4 lên nha. Rồi bây giờ bên mình nói là cái bên trái là cái số mấy hồi nãy được nói số mấy?
Dạ cái 8050 anh.
Rồi 8050. Bây giờ vào cái 8050 này cắt chỉ có 8050 thôi, mà cho cái 8 cái ống với cái hồi nãy như Lực có cái đó phải không? Chỉ mở cái 8050 này. Okay, so he said that the 8050 is the one with the most piping.
Okay.
And then so we can look at bây giờ nhìn xuống phía dưới. Nhìn cái ống ở dưới. Rồi đi sát vô.
So I would turn the roof off.
Không, nếu mà tính mà cái ống mà để lộ thiên ở ngoài đó anh là phải cái này là nhiều nhất anh này. Cái của anh Đường á, tại vì cái này nó nằm hoàn toàn ở ngoài luôn á, cho nên là cái này cái ống lộ thiên bên ngoài là nhiều nhất.
You see the fifth one, the one without the vestibule, it's kind of odd. It doesn't follow the other 4. So this is
so that one, so maybe I wasn't. Yeah, that one needs to be heat traced the entire way, right?
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
That's if I didn't say that, that's what that one needs.
Cái này là cái nó lộ thiên như vậy đó, là mình tính hết những cái ống nào nó lộ thiên phải không?
Dạ đúng rồi anh, cái này hôm bữa tính hết đó.
Dạ, với là 1 foot nó chạy vô trong cái máy và 2 feet đi xuống dưới.
Yeah.
Okay, so Richard, yeah, they capture this everything that is exposed 1 foot into the unit and 2 feet down. So that's taken care of already. Mấy cái ống condensate đó mình cũng tính luôn rồi phải không Lực?
Dạ tính hết đó.
So we got that. So
yeah, isn't there one on the other side too, Phil? Isn't there a condensate drain on the other side of the
mình
unit?
có condensate drain cho cái mé bên kia của cái thiết bị nào, của cái unit
Dạ
nào?
có anh, có một đường bên này anh.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
See, that's what I'm saying. That's the gap. You see what I'm saying? There's probably 30 feet, 40 feet, of added.
Yeah, to connect
wire.
this one.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
you want us to calculate that gap too?
Yeah. 1 second. So the guy that's trying to get on is looking for the passcode for this meeting, and I tried to find it. I couldn't find it.
That should not be a passcode.
He's on the Zoom on his phone, and every time I've had to do it on my phone, it always asks me for a passcode.
Let me tell you the password.
Hold on, Eric. I'm getting you the passcode right now.
Passcode is 58. Let me write it in the chat section.
Sure.
Yeah, I've shared that this is the passcode to enter into the meeting.
589294 is your passcode, Eric.
What's that one more time?
589294.
Sorry, thank you.
Okay, so let's go to the other unit. So let's add that, you know what I mean? And so what you got to do is you got to figure, figure like coming up 10 feet, Phil, then going across the unit, and then coming down 10 feet, and then wrapping the condensate trap.
You see, the wire is going to circle the pipe, right?
Sometimes it really depends, Phil. So no, so some systems have you wrap the pipe, and other systems just have you go, almost linear. It really depends on what we buy.
Okay, so if we give you the linear footage, that should work. Right?
Should work, yeah.
Okay, cho cái này đó, tại vì nó có một sợi dây điện chạy lên thôi, thì cái sợi dây điện nó phải quấn hết tất cả những cái ống ở trên mình thấy nó lộ thiên nè, xong rồi ha, như là nó quấn xong hết, như là từ cái ống này nó chạy qua ống kia, này nó vòng tới vòng lui, rồi xong rồi nó phải chạy qua cái đường condensate, rồi nó phải quấn xong cái condensate này, nó phải chạy tiếp cái đường đó, chạy ở dưới mặt sàn, chạy xuyên qua mé bên kia để nó bọc cái ống bên kia. Đó, thì cái này là 20-30 feet gì đó, thì cộng thêm nữa, thì mình cứ tính dư giả ra ha, là nó còn phải quấn cái này.
Dạ. Hôm trước em có làm, ví dụ em làm cái này anh, là anh tính là đã cộng thêm cái 25% nè rồi anh này. Là ví dụ như cái này
nhưng mà chưa đủ, tại vì cái này bữa trước mình đâu có tính tới cái chạy cái ống từ cái mé kia qua mé này đâu, phải thêm cái đoạn đó nữa.
Ý là lúc nãy anh nói là làm một cái rồi nhân 5 này anh.
He's saying we grabbed it in the 25% is what I think he's saying.
Dạ. Bây giờ cả hai cái trường hợp này khác nhau. Cái nằm ở giữa cái mà cái ống lộ thiên nhiều nè, cái đó phải đi riêng ra, nên mình không tính. Bây giờ mình chỉ có 4 cái EHU là mình nhân cho 4, và 4 cái chiller là một cái nhân cho 4, 4 cái EHU là một cái nhân cho 4, và còn cái mà nãy mình đang coi, cái đó nó nằm riêng rẽ, tại cái trường hợp nó không giống nhau. Rồi bây giờ trở lại cái bảng nào ấy. Bây giờ mình đã tính cái đoạn ống từ bên này chạy qua đây bao nhiêu, cộng thêm 10 feet nữa. đo cái khoảng cách từ cái condensate này qua condensate kia là bao nhiêu, xong rồi cộng thêm 10 feet nữa. Rồi cái dàn ống á, quay ở bên dàn ống nè. So for one circle to come up and wrap around this and jump back and forth between these pipes, you probably should add a lot more, Richard, than.
Yeah, I don't know. Eric, are you on?
Yeah. Sorry, I was finished. I wanted to let them finish talking. So
yeah.
So and that's the whole exercise here, right? So we want to find out exactly how this heat trace has to be installed per the vendor that we choose. And you know, when it comes to, you know, wrapping and pipe and lengths of tape, that really depends on what voltages and stuff we use and lengths and everything else. One of the discussions we did have, and I think you were just talking about it as I was signing on, is heat tracing the traps. And we had that discussion with John Gable about not heat tracing the traps. So I don't know if that was the discussion I kind of came in on or not.
Yeah, so the initial discussion that I had with John was that he wanted a heat trace. So again, this is all part of this equation, right? So right now, what we gave you is the BOM for this unit, right, which brings the heat trace down 2 foot below the roof line, and then it, you know, we're saying it extends 1 foot past the coil connection, but the coil connection is right on the outside of the unit, so it's, you know, so there's extra, there's a few feet extra there. What it doesn't, and then I added 25% as a fudge factor, Eric. So you know, I think it brings you like 200 feet. What you know we're not picking up is all the nuances of, you know, do you need to add junction boxes? Do you need to, you know, do we need to run, you know, raceway inside the unit? All that stuff. Like none of that's figured into this one, right? This one's one of the easy ones, right? So what you know? So we have this one here. This is an isolated unit. This is not typical of the other 4. The other 4 are much more comprehensive. So again, this one's approximately 200 feet. What I was saying to Phil and what I was going to give you, Eric, was the worst case unit, which is 8,500. So the unit that has the most piping in it, and use that as your benchmark, right? So, and then you take that times 4, you know what I mean? Because that's as close as we're going to get for this. That's how I was going to go about this. So right now, what I had asked Phil, so Phil, can we fly over to 8,500?
Ok, qua cái 8.500 mil. Họ chỉ muốn coi cái ống nằm ở dưới thôi, không có quan tâm với ống ở trên.
So right now, what I asked them to do is they're going down 2 foot below the roof, and they're going 1 foot up into the vestibule. If we want all the pipe in the vestibule, so if you go into the vestibule, can you fly into the vestibule?
Đi vô trong cái khung ở trong á. Yeah.
It's a lot. There's a lot of pipe there, and these are the vestibules that have the 2 pipe fan coil units, right? So heating, cooling, fan coil units blowing hot or cold air into the vestibule.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So the question I have, not to cut you off, but just looking at this presents an issue, and this is exactly why I wanted a model, because you know, when we're jumping from one pipe to another pipe to, you know, from a hot water to a chilled water, you know, I see a lot of separation here.
Correct.
So here,
Yes.
you know, here's the issue, you know, when you look at it here, you know, where do you jump it? Do you go back down below the floor?
I don't
And
know.
it's a lot more than like a foot or two. It's going to be, it looks like several feet.
Yeah, if you go down below, well, if you go, so you're saying jump it at underneath the unit is what I'm hearing you say? Or
Well, yeah,
jump
because
it,
I mean,
at the roof line.
Right. So if you're only coming up a foot into this, you know, into this mechanical space here,
Yeah.
it's not like, you know, or you know, initially I thought, well, maybe you can jump at the top of each pipe and keep it up by the ceiling to keep it out of the way. You can't, you know, you can't run it on the floor. Well, you could, but I don't think anybody's going to agree to that. I wouldn't want to see that. So the only other place you could do is, you know, basically go back outside the mechanical area below the unit if there's space there, and then jump onto the next pipe.
Yeah, it's just the bottom of the unit, but I mean, you know, we've really elevated this to you know, quite an endeavor. This has become this has gone from, you know, I on the estimate I got $12,000 budget for this. So you tell me, I'm gonna chew up 20 grand on one of these units.
Well, and that's why I think, honestly, I know we kind of, I think we're differing in opinion, but I think having each unit modeled so we can, you know, so we can give this to the heat trace company and say, hey, make it the most efficient routing and pick up all these lines, and, you know, keep it within, you know, the capability of the heat trace tape to
Why wouldn't we just do the worst case and then multiply it by 4? Like, why would we go to this, you know,
just
model each one? I mean, I don't see the point of that.
Well, we wouldn't be doing it. I want to give this to the heat trace company to let them do it. It really comes down to install. How do, like, when we do a checklist or we ask the guys in the field to install it, they're going to need something, you know, to go by.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, that's why I'm saying, let's do the worst case scenario. Everything else can be pared back off of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you've been looking at this modeling a lot more than I have, Rich. So,
yes,
I mean, if you're telling me that all of these modules or all these piping racks and stuff within this mechanical space are pretty close, then I see no problem with it.
Yeah, they're similar. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're, you know, if you have, you know, if everyone is a, you know, different.
No, they're all similar. They're similar. They're all a little nuanced, but they're all very similar. So, I mean, and
I just want to,
you know, I'm looking at these, you know, so we've got a bunch of racks in there, you know, the unistrut racks. I mean, I could run a conduit, you know, once we set these and get all the coils tied in, we could run a conduit down the racks, you know what I mean? And jumper everything, you know, right on the unistrut, you know what I mean? So I don't see this as see this as a real problem. The bigger question, Eric, is how much are we doing, right? In other words, you know, is the scope of work actually going to be 1 foot above, or is it going to be the entire unit, right? Because right now, and I can get this from Phil pretty quickly, I can get you the BOM on this unit, which will tell you, you know, linear footage wise, you know, how much pipe is in this unit. So, and we can give it to you by system. So that's all available. And this is what I told you, this is all available. But I you know, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel on this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, everything's laid out in here. The first thing I think that's important that we establish is, what is the scope? Are we, you know, is the scope correct, coming 1 foot above and 2 foot below? If that's the case, then we have our direction forward. You know, Lori was thinking that we're covering everything. You know, we're wrapping up everything inside the unit, and that's a whole different scope. I mean, as you can see, it's a significantly different scope.
No, I personally, you know, from what I discussed with John and Rich the other day in our engineering review meeting when we started talking about this, you know, he was saying, you know, 2 foot into the unit, and then, you know, the same thing, 2 foot into the, you know, into the building, and that is the, you know, the scope that they had discussed for heat trace tape. To heat trace everything in here, I think is a ton of money. B, it makes servicing way more difficult if you ever have to make a piping repair.
Oh yeah, yeah. Agreed.
You know, are they monitoring? You know, are they monitoring the temperature of this space through Siemens? I don't know yet. I haven't seen that part.
I believe so, but I don't know. I don't know whether that fan call just runs local and it's not reporting out. I thought it was reporting, but it should be reporting if it's not. But
right, right. So I'm of the opinion that you know, if you bring the heat trace, you know, a foot or two into the mechanical above and below, we should be covered per the scope that I discussed with John, that was agreed upon with, you know, with resilience.
What else do you need? What else do you need from us to get this all done?
I need these buildings, and I also need the chiller, how the chiller piping is laid out.
Yeah. Okay. So what when we say you need these built, what do you need? What do you need? Do you need a section view? Do you need a ISO view? What do you need?
Probably an ISO view, just so the heat trace company can show, you know, on a drawing how the pipes are going to be covered, and the routing. My one concern is, when I was talking to 2 different companies, is the amount of space between jumping off a pipe and going back onto a pipe is measured like in feet. Like anything much over a foot or so, they don't like to see, because it's not really meant for that. So based on this drawing here, and I don't know if you know, if we get this in Bluebeam, if we can take, you know, do some Bluebeam measurements and you have it scaled, so we know how far we're actually running.
Yeah, we can give you all that. So here's what I'm hearing you say. And Phil, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah. So here's what we can give you, Eric. We can give you. We're gonna just take the 1 unit, 8500. That's all we're gonna do, and we're gonna ISO view it, and then we're gonna give you a section view across each side. You know, so you'll see a section view across the coils on the left, and a section view across the coils on the right, or you know, elevation view. And then from there, the only other thing that I think you'd be looking for is where the condensate traps are in relationship to you know, to the coils, you know, in the vestibule. Is that a correct statement?
Yeah. So going back to the condensate traps, so our discussion was, you know, they're going to be built out of PVC, and freezing and thawing should not be a concern, because, you know, most rooftop units, everything out there, they don't really, very rarely do you ever see a heat trace tape on a condensate trap. They freeze, they thaw, they freeze, they thaw. So we didn't think, you know, kind of the discussion was not to wrap, you know, the actual condensate, because that comes into a whole nother. Now you need a single controller for each, especially for the FAR condensate. You would need a controller just for that one, and at about $1,000 a pop for the simple mechanical style, it becomes, you know, very costly to start doing all of the condensates.
I don't disagree. I just you know, if you get into you know, a humidity issue where where you're dumping, where you're dumping steam into the space, and then, and the coil and you get blow by, and now your trap is frozen outside, it's going to overflow somewhere. So that's the only downside to that. So, that's fine. Follow me?
No, I get you. I mean, and that's that. We were kind of talking about that, and
that's going to be your call. Yeah, it's his call. Whatever he wants to do.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll just verify that with John. John was under the opinion that far trap, especially the far trap, would never really see any moisture. So, we'll have the heat trace company take a look at this. I'll reach back out to John in our engineering review meeting and just, verify that probably in an email that's how he wants to do it. And then, we can go from there. And if you want to, revisit that and just make sure that that's what we want to do.
No, this is all just going to be documented, right?
Yep.
It'll all just be documented, and we'll say, right now, for our documentation purposes, it's going to be condensate drains are not considered, right? They're so
Yep.
unless they, so I'll be very specific about stuff that's not included, right?
Right.
And then, I'm assuming outdoor temperature, you're going to have outdoor temperature sensor, something like that. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the heat trace that he said that was agreed upon is very basic. Basically, just an out.
So self-regulating. Yeah.
Self-regulating and on and off based on outdoor air temperature.
Yeah.
No monitoring of any type except for the CT from Siemens.
It tells you that it's got juice or not. That's all. So
it just tells you that is it on or off, and even in the wintertime it may turn off. It's really not an alarm or any kind of signal. It's basically an on off on a binary switch.
Got it. Okay. All right. So Phil, is it clear what Eric's looking for, or did I make that clear, or maybe you want me to reiterate that?
Clear as mud. Okay, this is how I see it, and I'm not sure whether it's going to help at all. But what we can do, Richard, we can draw a line for you. For example, this is going to the unit, right? And then we can go back down, and then we go to the next one. This is below the unit, right? And then 1 foot into the space, and then come back down to below the air handling unit. And again, we might have to go over here, come back up.
Don't do it. I can't see what you're doing, first off, and don't worry about it.
I'm so sorry. I haven't shared my screen. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen.
The only thing, this is what I would do, is I would cut this area down to, maybe 2 feet above the floor, so and then section up from the underside, so we're 2 feet, or 3 feet into the ceiling space, and then just say that's the section of pipe, and then you're going to give me elevation view across both of those
okay, hang on, Richard. Let me have my guys give me a section view, and I'll draw on it to make sure that we're on the same page. Cảnh lực cho anh cái section view của cái khu vực này coi, cho thấy luôn cái ống đi xuống ở dưới mái nhà và đi xuyên qua đây, cho anh cái section view. Anh vừa muốn thấy cái ống ở dưới mái nhà, cái ống trên mái nhà và cái ống đi lên cái air handling unit. Rồi zoom vào.
Exactly. It's exactly right, Phil. It's exactly right.
Okay, để yên đó.
Yeah.
zoom sát vào chút xíu nè để cho anh vẽ cho nó dễ. Ok, cả này được.
Eric, this is what you're looking for, correct? Eric, you still there? Oh, did he drop off? Yeah. No, that's exactly what we're looking for right there. Yep.
Okay, let me share my screen. Cái bên mình ngừng share cho anh share cái.
And then just put the footage, you know, and
All right. You see my screen, Richard?
I can. Yeah.
Okay, this is what I'm hearing, and okay, so 2 feet below the roof line. Let's start right here, right? We go up. Yeah. We go up to 1 foot into the space.
Yeah.
And then we might have to go back down.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, don't worry about any of that.
You don't wait to the
you don't need to do it. Yeah, you don't need to do any of that, Phil. Here's what we want to do. We want to just go show a line at 2 foot below the roof, and show another line at, you know, a dimension at 1 foot above. And then what we got to do is we just got to give the overall you know, space between the beginning, you know, so then we need the width, right? So the overall width between the far left of the first coil and the far right, the last coil. That's all they're going to need. Follow me. They'll figure out what their jumpers are and whatever else they got to do in between those spaces. But that's the overall. That's the box that they need.
Okay. All right. So
does that make sense?
Okay. So let me make sure. Let me draw it to make sure that.
Sure.
Okay. So you want this dimension, right?
Yeah, 1 foot.
So they will give you the total length, 1 foot into the vestibule, 2 feet below the roof line. You want that?
Yes. Yep. And then give me the dimension. Give me what that roughly is, right? Is that 8 feet, 10 feet, whatever that is, right? You follow me?
And the distance between the spread.
Correct.
From the pipe on the left.
Correct.
To the pipe on the right.
Correct. Yeah, that's all we need. That's all we need.
Okay, on this one we show only 4 pipes, but there seem to be more.
Yeah, so like I said, if we're cutting, you know, you should be cutting into that. We may have to give them like tilt it so they know how many pipes are coming up through there. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But that's the gist of what we need to give them, right? So what we're saying is, you know, we're defining that first, you know, so if we start at the bottom, we're defining that as roof line minus 2 foot. And then we're defining the top mark, you know, where you have the hatch for the dimension. You're defining that as 1 foot above. Then in between, you want to give me, you know, what that is. Is it 10 feet, 12 feet, whatever it is? You know what I mean? That we need that dimension.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be a little bit better if we have maybe 2 different views. You know, one at me like straight ahead like this, and maybe one at like a 45 or something like that, just so we know that there's nothing kind of hiding behind you know, one of the other pipes.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on. Let me get another view. Lực share lại và cho mở cái bảng vẽ đó lại. Rồi xoay isometric, xoay như vậy đó để cho anh thấy được những cái ống, toàn bộ những cái ống luôn đó. Chủ yếu đó là họ muốn thấy những cái ống nằm phía dưới cái nó phải mở cái handling unit lên để họ thấy nó cắt ở đâu.
It's like we got an extra fan coil in there.
Họ thấy cái ống, muốn cái ống nằm ở từ cái mái nhà đi lên trên cái vessel, cái thiết bị, xoay làm sao cho họ thấy hết 4-5 ống. Nó có 5 ống thì họ muốn thấy hết 5 ống.
Turn that Dunwich steel off if you want. You can turn that blue. You can turn the blue off. You can turn that off.
Cái sắt mà để nâng cái air handling unit đó, cái đó mình tắt nó được không?
Yeah.
Okay, we can give you this view.
Eric, that looks pretty good to me. But it looks like maybe we're missing. No, it looks like. Has that got everything that's going into the unit, Phil?
Mình có 5 cái ống chạy xuyên qua mái nhà, chạy lên cái thiết bị phải không? Phải còn gì khác không?
Do we have the steam line and the condensate line? 2 hot water lines and 2 chilled water lines, right?
Yeah, I'm not seeing all.
Mình còn ống gì khác không?
Dạ hết rồi đó anh.
Yeah, we should have. Yeah, right now it looks like we got 5 pipes, and I think we need at least 6. So.
Ông nói phải có 6 ống lần. Sao mình chỉ có 5 thôi?
Rich, the other question I had the other day, do we have any fresh water lines for, maintenance up on the roof that would be exposed?
Yes. Yeah, they just added them.
Mình có cái đường condensate, cái đường steam phải không?
Hydrants, so.
Cái hệ thống này có đường steam không?
I think he's gonna pull that out a little.
Dạ, steam ra anh. Steam là hai đường đấy anh.
Yeah.
Dạ, thì hình như là cái steam này lên nha nè. Rồi nó đi qua đây cấp nó vô thiết bị rồi có một đường đi xuống anh. Bên này là cái cuối đường, như này là cũng có một cái steam trap đi xuống này nữa. Còn bên này là của chill anh.
Cái xanh là supply, cái đỏ là return.
Dạ, đúng rồi. Dạ.
Okay, then there are 5 Richard on the left, the yellow, that's the steam system. And then on the right, the green is the chill water supply, and the red is the return.
There's no heating hot water in that.
Này hít anh. Này hít qua đời chứ không phải là.
Yeah. No, yeah. So cái xanh là chill water và cái đỏ là heat hot water.
Dạ không, cái hai cái này là cái supply với return, anh món này là của là hit.
You pull the view out further.
Zoom ra coi. Như hai cái ống bây giờ, hai cái ống ở dưới đã chạy lên là cái màu xanh, cái màu đỏ là cái ống gì vậy?
Để em kiểm tra lại cái BD anh.
Người nào chạy cái handling unit này thì giải thích giùm đi. Trong cái giờ đó mà ngồi mình đi kiếm PNI đi.
Dạ có nó BD ra. Dạ cái này là hệ thống chill anh. Chill một bên là supply, một bên return đi xuống anh.
Chỉ là không có hidden hot water cho cái hệ thống này.
Dạ trên cái này không thấy.
On this unit, Richard, there's only chill water and the steam. Mà mở PP này đi lên cho coi đi.
And this has the most piping.
Mà bấm PN này đi. Và cái này là cái nhiều ống nhất á hả Lực?
Dạ không, cái này là cái 8.500 anh. Cái 8.500 anh nó mở 8.500, không phải, chưa phải là nhiều nhất anh.
No, we just asked him to open the 8500, but this is not the one with the most piping.
Sorry, I thought I said the one with the most piping. So whatever the one's with the most piping fill is the one we want to.
Yeah, ông muốn coi cái nào với chắc là ông nói lộn á, ông muốn coi cái nào nhiều ống nhất á, chứ không phải cái 8500, cái nào nhiều ống nhất. 8050 is the one with the most piping.
Okay, good. All right.
Và cái này mình có hệ thống nào trong này?
Dạ thì trong này có chill, có hit anh, rồi có gift free call này nè anh.
Có client call nữa phải không?
Dạ, với lại steam nữa.
Steam, yeah, this one has the most have all the system.
Does it? It's got glycol. It's got glycol in it.
Nó có glycol nữa mà phải âm lực.
Dạ đúng rồi anh.
Yeah, it has glycol in this too.
Yeah. So we're not heat tracing the glycol. All right, Eric, you see what I'm going to give you. It's going to get you close enough. I think there's way more other issues than this, to be honest with you. I think there's way more other issues, but you know, we'll give you those section and ISO views, and then so we can figure out. You know, to me, the bigger issue is on the circuiting and the voltages. But yeah, we'll give you this, and then we can tilt it. But I think this one has glycol, so this gets a little skewed.
Yeah, my concern is if we don't have a good starting point to lay this out, to know that we're covered with voltages and stuff, that we're gonna have a bigger issue come install time.
Well, that's why I wanted to give you the worst case. That's exactly that was exactly the logic set there, right?
Right.
So
Right.
as long as it works there, everything else is going to be less.
Yeah. Do we have time to look at the chiller piping too?
Yeah,
I know we
sure.
were going to review that at some point.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, save cái view này hả Lực? Rồi bây giờ save cái view này đi.
Yeah.
Để cho hệ thống nào ghi rõ ràng để biết đường mà trở lại.
There's not a lot of pipe on the roof, but the chiller barrel is what.
Rồi giờ đi qua cái chiller.
Rich, did you verify all the ports and stuff that we need in the field piping for the chiller?
For the flow meters?
Flow meters and flow switches.
We picked up the flow. We picked up the flow switches, and I believe the meters too. But yeah, we put them in the piping so we can look at that. We can fly down into. I had to move them around so get them in a spot where you could get a ladder up, you know, to them. But yes, we did. So that's the extent of the chiller, the chill water piping on the roof. That's pretty typical for all of them. It's not a lot. Now, what you're seeing here too is I had them include the jump overs you know, for flushing. So there's a little bit extra pipe there, but it, you know.
You are the man. I was just going to ask you about that. Where's the crossover for the piping for the flushing?
I already put it in. Yeah, so it's that piece. You see that piece over to the right a little bit? That sticks right on to those.
Zoom vào cho ông thấy cái ống mà mình làm riêng ra. Ống mình để riêng đó.
Those are just nipples. Yeah, and then we'll reuse the. That's your jump over.
Oh, that's your pipe.
That's for flushing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna that'll be on for flushing. Then we'll pull that off and reuse those elbows and tie in the. And there's the flexes on the air handlers, and then I put air vents up on the top. Before we went in.
See that, but I'm not seeing I'm not seeing a threadlet for flow sensors, for flow switches. I'm sorry. They
don't
really
know.
are flow sensors anymore. They're not really a flow switch, but for all
Yeah.
intents and purposes, let's call it a flow switch.
Yeah, I don't know if we picked them up. Were they in that marked up drawing? Because I don't remember seeing that. I definitely saw the flow meters, but I don't remember seeing the flow switches.
No, that was during your engineering review. We had brought that up, and the last discussion we had, that John was going to make sure that was, somehow, getting relayed to you, I suppose, or to someone.
Yeah, where do we want them? Where do we want them, on the supplier to return?
You want them on the I don't think it actually specifies. I have to go back through the IOM and look. It's been a month or so now. But I believe we want them kind of in the straight right before the nozzles going into the chiller barrel.
On the supply.
Yeah, I would probably do the supply to the barrel.
Oh, okay. I always thought I went on the return, so okay. All right.
Yeah.
So and you need 3/4? You need 3/4 OLED?
1/4 inch.
Well, I'm gonna give you a 3/4 and then we'll push it down, right? Do I have an insertion length that I need to stay with, or it's just gotta be in a water stream?
That's the issue right there, is if you put a bushing on it, the probes on these things aren't very long, so you're gonna possibly be outside the actual flow probe.
Yeah, 1/4 inch tap is a pain in the balls. Yes, me.
It is. I get that. But you want that thermal depression sensor in the water flow. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of false and bad readings.
Well, don't I have minimum straight and upstream downstream before I hit that thing, or is it just?
Unfortunately, I can't be in this meeting and be plugged into my other.
No, that's fine.
Device,
Yeah. So Phil, this is going to be a follow up. Eric will get us that detail, and then it looks like on the red. I think the red one is supply, or is green supply. Do you remember?
Cái ống nào cái supply gì Lực? Cái màu xanh hay cái màu đó?
I always put them on the return. It just shows you how old they are. Because you want to know you got flow through the barrel, not flow to the barrel. You want to know that it's coming from the barrel. That's what I always thought.
Yeah, I don't know that it much. I'd have to go back to.
Well, what if your barrel gets fouled, right?
Well, it does. It's a thermal depression. So I mean, if you have flow, it doesn't matter. It's just measuring flow. I mean, your barrel could be caked up with all kinds of debris and stuff, but as long as you're meeting the velocity over your sensor, because that's really what they measure, velocity, right? So, so as long as you have that velocity, you're good. I mean, the green pipe, quite honestly, you have way more straight on the green.
Yeah.
So
that's why I was saying that. That's exactly why I was saying it.
Right. So quite honestly, if you put it somewhere, close to that, it looks like an air vent valve.
Yeah.
I mean, those aren't valves there. Those are like vibration pads right there. As long as there's no valve, that's going to impede the sensor or be able to valve off the chiller barrel. But up in that green line would probably be our best bet.
Okay, so that'd be on the return. So that's fine. So Phil, the way we'll leave this, I don't want to make this clear as mud, but Eric's gonna mark up something and I'll get it to you and tell you where, and it's gonna be a 1/4 inch tap. And we may just, we spot it in there, and then we may have to like balloon it, narrow it, like 1/4 inch tap for pressure. And Eric, when you do, make sure you give me the exact nomenclature off of the PNID, so that can get that all tagged in there. That makes sense.
Yeah, and that's the problem though. I'd have to go and make sure that it hasn't changed since I last looked at it.
No, I
but
get it. I get it. Yeah.
It was not on the PNID.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
That was the whole problem. That's why I brought that up.
We need to get it in the PNID. That needs to get on the PNID. So that's what you need to do. You need to mark that PNID up, and then indicate whatever the tag. It's usually the equipment number, and then the PNID reference, and then it's going to be pressure differential. I think it's a pressure differential switch.
No, it's a flow switch. It's not pressure differential. Right.
Gotcha. Flow switch. So again, that PNID, that's us to mark up and get back to CRB. But I just need to give this information to Phil so we can get this on.
Okay. Yeah, I can mark that up, and it was something that I got pushback from John because it's not a sensor that's being provided by us or Siemens. It's a sensor that goes with the chiller package itself. So
where's it? It's reporting to the local panel, or where's it reporting to?
It's reporting to the chiller. So this is a flow switch that comes with the chiller itself. Okay. And then it goes directly to the chiller control panel.
Okay, that's fine. And this is so that's good. We'll get that included. And Phil, this kind of falls into place for what we're doing with the controls. This would be one of the control devices. There's a local panel on each of these chillers, and this device would be reporting back to that control panel. So it's a little bit, this is part of the nuances of these controls. And I think Ravi's on right now, your controls guy. So I think they know what I'm talking about here. Phil, are you still with me on this?
Yeah, but so you want us to put in the quarters tab?
Yeah, we'll tell you where to put it. Yeah, we'll tell you where to put it. We'll mark up a PNID and we'll tell you where to put it. But this is where this gets a little nuanced, right? There's actually a local panel on the chillers that this device will report to. And what it is, it's a scope of work that our controls installation subcontractor needs to pick up. And it's probably a gap in our scope right now.
Okay, on the we're missing the flow switch there.
Yeah.
Just to be clear, also, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Just to be clear, the process chillers also need that same tap.
Yeah, so the glycol chillers. So there's two of them over to the left. Those two smaller ones on the roof. They're gonna need it too. So again, maybe what we do is we have a separate meeting with your controls guys, and then we kind of go through. I think we got to break it down, like so this isn't one of the things I had them working on first, Eric. Just so you know, what I'm having them work on first is the air handling units feeding the work cells, along with the corresponding bag in, bag outs that that work in tandem. So that's our first effort. Getting all the controls devices spotted, and I'll show you that at another meeting. But we're also putting in CFMs, we're putting in pressure differentials between the rooms. I think you're really going to like it, because it's really going to make it very, very clear. Between the spaces, what's going on, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to collapse the controls drawings, to a visual form, so you can actually see the control devices and see what it's, where it's reporting to, and Phil will show you all that. It's pretty cool.
No, I like this. You know, I'm a visual kind of guy. I like to actually
yeah.
see it, and
Absolutely, no, it's good stuff.
you know, you kind of get a better sense of the job actually seeing a picture of it. You know.
Yeah. So we got to jump on that.
we need to jump to the other meeting with Bill and Laurie.
Yeah. So Eric, I'll get you something based on today's discussions, and then I'll circle back with you on what I need from you to give to Phil.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks. Eric.
Thank you, Phil.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you.
Phil.
Yeah, we need to jump to the other meeting. Nào đi qua buổi họp bên kia.